always, the moment's about yesterday, people, and celebrating everything, but no one's going to let me get away without asking David about transfers, contracts, and the things going on there. So it's right to ask, even as we step, and we've got to put that photo on the screen because number 20 is up on the Champions Wall at Anfield. This one is a hell of a photo from yesterday, David, that I know you'll have clocked it, that with viewers where I'm seeing, you could see like John W. Henry had Trent Alexander-Arnold chatting to him for a good few minutes. It's the ultimate boss speaking to, the youth star who there's big question marks around his contract in Real Madrid. Cody Gakpo mentioned in the interview about hopefully he stays, and people clock that at the same time as well. Is this just forlorn hope, or is there anything you think still, or just should we not get excited at all? And people even mention it, I should say as well, Trent's posted there at 11:30 today about Hearts and this city and this club, so people jump on that. Any hope or forlorn?
No, to be fair, I think as long as he hasn't signed his deal with Real Madrid, which he hasn't yet, there's always hope. You can't say it's done until it's done. What I would say is that at this point, it would be a bit of a U-turn. The expectation at Liverpool is that he will go and he will join Real Madrid, and that's the expectation definitely on the Real Madrid side. So everybody's kind of in that position. But until he signs it, there's every chance he changes his mind. That absolutely could happen. So, that possibility is still on the table. So we'll kind of see whether that maybe he's been persuaded by the scenes he saw yesterday, but I'm not sure that's going to be the case, to be honest. Maybe John Henry's threatened him. I don't know, but I honestly doubt it, to be honest. I just think, I don't doubt his love of Liverpool or whatever. Why wouldn't he enjoy this moment? It's still his club that he supports. But I just think that the kind of the pull of Real Madrid and the idea of just trying something a little bit different is maybe what's in his mind. It's not because he wants to get out of Liverpool. He's just got an opportunity to try something completely new and maybe wants to go and try it. But as I say, until he puts pen to paper on that contract, it's still there as a maybe. But I would still suggest that he's going to go to Real Madrid, unfortunately. But also, let's just say that a great way to sign off in terms of being a big part of another title win. He's been part of a Liverpool side that has firmly re-established this club back on its perch. So I know there are people who prefer to focus on the negative elements, which is, Liverpool not getting a fee, or how could you leave at all? I wouldn't do it personally or whatever. But I think, for me, I prefer to focus on the positives, and there are quite a lot of them. So, like I said, we'll see. Maybe he will change his mind. Maybe he had a big night out last night and he's feeling like he wants to stay. But yeah, I still feel like he's going to go to Real Madrid, to be honest.
Yeah, hopefully it was a big night out for all of them where John W. Henry stuck a piece of paper under his neck. He signed it without thinking, and we'll get a load of announcements. But it's hard to see it at this stage. And speaking of other players, Darwin Núñez is a character anyway, isn't he? Everyone could see the photo there. But this was one I wanted to ask you about. A lot of people were talking about this sort of in the stadium. When you look down at the bench yesterday and they talk about emptying the bench in football, let me just put these names to you. Jarell Quansah, Harvey Elliott, Curtis Jones, Darwin Núñez, Diogo Jota, Queven Kelleher, and Federico Chiesa. How many would you say you're confident, but probably Curtis Jones, I would say for me, I'm the only one I'm sticking my neck on, that you would say will be at Anfield next season?
Yeah, it's few question marks there. What I would say is that I do think a big aspect of this is that, yes, there's question marks over quite a few of those players. Absolutely, would acknowledge that, except for Jones. You couldn't really confidently say that they'll all be there next season. But what I would say is that the idea that they'll all go as well is kind of a bit of a fantasy. Liverpool it'll be on a kind of case-by-case basis, but it will also be on a basis of we can't afford to have too much turnover this summer. They won't want to be selling 8 or 9 because they'll have to replace them. So, I think if you're in a situation where if big money comes in for Gomez at the start of the window, then Jarell Quansah's future and question marks over that have come to an end. You keep him for at least another season. Similarly with Harvey Elliott, if you change, if you make other changes in midfield, if Endo were to go, for example, again, you don't want Elliott to go as well, because you're starting to have to get two midfielders in or whatever. So Nunes, Jota, Diaz, all those forwards who are in question marks. So it's I think there are question marks over an awful lot of them. But it's going to be the case that I think only a limited number will leave in the end, because, as I say, Liverpool, that's going to give Liverpool 3 or 4 signings they have to make on top of the left back and the centre forward that they already want. And I don't think they'll want to turn it into 7 or 8 signings, but maybe kind of, if they can keep it to 5-ish, I think that would be more comfortable for them. So it's an interesting summer coming up, isn't it, on that basis, really? And it's going to be interesting to see who the money comes in, and whether it's big enough, and whether it's early enough, and who it comes in for first, and whether that influences decision making. So, really, really interesting one coming up.
Yeah, and people are hammering me quite rightly for not mentioning even Tsimikas or Endo, who was also question marks, who completed the bench yesterday. There are a lot of question marks there. And I suppose in terms of the opposite way, question marks. I mean, Bournemouth are almost becoming our new Southampton, if we believe all the rumours. And Dean Huijsen, and I know you'll see this, you commented on it as well. Dependent on who you want to believe, Chelsea are the favourites because of the connection with the advisor and his links to Chelsea. If you believe other reports, Liverpool the favourites because of the father, the project, where Dean sees himself in the future as well. Is it just as simple as saying Liverpool, Arsenal and Chelsea are really there in the race for Dean Huijsen, and a decision's got to be made?
Yeah, literally that. Exactly that. I think I would disregard any talk of front runners at the moment. My understanding is that it's just ongoing. All these clubs are kind of pitching to the player, and Bournemouth are kind of allowing that, knowing that he's got a clause, and that they want an early resolution to this as well, so that they can reinvest the money. They know he's going to go. It's just a question of where to. So every club is making their pitch, having a look at what the kind of contract will look like, pitching where he will fit into their squad, etc., and how they plan to use him. But there's a few clubs in the mix, and we will see how that kind of plays out, really. Liverpool are there. They're one of the clubs involved, and I think they would have a very, very strong pitch to make to him, not least because look at that yesterday. Why wouldn't you want to be part of that? So Liverpool will be there, but we don't know where that's going to go yet, and we don't know where that's up to. So, let's see, really. He's an exciting talent, but it's an open race at the moment as far as we're aware.
It does seem an open race, and I don't know about this one, because one that everyone seems to be, say, from Bournemouth again, is almost a closed race, and he's pretty much just when he's joining us. Milos Kerkez, you've seen everyone quoting this around. He's certain, it seems like, is the only real name. I know you're not fully convinced with this, are you? That there's no absolute certainty, and people have equated it to Alexis McAllister, like the smoke without fire situation. But does it feel that way?
He's definitely a player that Liverpool like, but I just think he's been linked for that such a long period of time now that people think he's 100% coming, and I don't think we're quite in that situation yet. Again, there are other left backs that Liverpool like who they might go in for. There's also competition for Kerkez that might interest him as well. So, again, we'll see how that goes. And I know people kind of want as much certainty as possible, but we can't forget we're still only in April. We're not at the end of the season yet. No one's able to make kind of fully firm moves yet. So, you've got to remember it's really early days. So, but I'd say, Kerkez is definitely someone who's liked. But like I say, I think people have gone too far in thinking he's 100% going to be Liverpool's left back signing. I'm not quite convinced of that just yet. It may well be him. And as I say, they do like him. He's definitely on the short list. So, I'm not trying to say he's not going to sign. But there are others they like as well. And I mean, that is one of them, by the way, Ryan Aït-Nouri. So just kind of keep an eye on that, really. It's, it's not nailed on by any means, I'd say.
Yeah, keep forgetting it is April. There's still a fair bit of the season to go. It does seem strange saying that. And I mean, we're talking about Huijsen there and possible incomings. This is one we'd love some positive news on. It does seem almost awfully quiet. There's no real positive noises coming around the Abu Konate situation. Just hoping the photo there on the screen of him sat in the main stand after the game, just absorbing it in, that if there is any emotional element, this is playing into it. But for you, because I said it on a few pods now, it's not a good summer if Huijsen comes in and Canate goes out. That's a weaker central defence. Getting Ibu renewed is a priority, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's it. I don't think you can be signing Dean Huijsen as a replacement for Ibu Canate. He's not at that level yet. Absolutely not. He's a real big talent, but he's he's just turned 20 and he doesn't win aerial duels at the same rate. And Canate is actually one of the best centre halves in the world. So you can't. That would be a major downgrade, and that's not what I think. It's part of it in terms of Liverpool's need for a centre half, in terms of it's part of their thinking and wanting to future proof that area. But it's not that he would be a direct replacement. Absolutely not. They are committed to trying to get this contract extended, and they know how important Canate is, and I hope they can, because I think he's absolutely massive for them. I mean, he's had a good season, hasn't he, in terms of getting over his injuries, and he's been just fantastic in terms of his level of performance. But obviously, he's now down to his final year. There's interest in him from PSG, which is no doubt playing a part in this. So we'll have to see. But I don't think it can be a case of Canate out and Huijsen in and thinking that the level of performance will be maintained. Again, it's another element of kind of going into this summer where it's like, God, there's another player they might have to need to replace there. And it's, again, they're going to try and limit turnover as much as they can. But it's how much are you able to do that? And who does go and who doesn't sign a contract, and who, so many big decisions to make. And that's why you can pretty much guarantee it's going to be a pretty crazy summer for Liverpool.
Yeah, it does feel like it is going to be just so much to sort. And with that in mind, Luis Diaz, this is a player I think many have almost, and from all the stories, assumed will be off, whether it be Saudi or somewhere else. Do you think and a lot of people are suggesting this, with his recent run, his output, which has always been the question mark this season, could he force a Liverpool rethink, do you believe at all, where they maybe look at renewing him just because of the sheer amount of change they've got to do elsewhere?
I just wonder whether they would prefer to go down the route, though, of not renewing him, in terms of, when you get these players in on a contract. I don't think that Liverpool are as reliant on generating sales like this, or it's not like a massive part of their kind of, because they can generate sales through academy players. There are some players who they do move on successfully. I think, if you've got someone like Diaz and you already know you're going to have turnover in your front line, Chiesa's I would really expect him to leave. Nunes is going to leave. You can pretty much guarantee that. So you're losing 2 forwards out of your 6. Now, they might not want to have 6 next season. I don't think they'd need that. I think they probably only need 5. And then Rio Ungamoa is the next cab off the rank, and try and push him a bit closer. I think that would be an ideal situation really for them. But, like I say, if you're already losing 2 there, and then you've got to lose a 3rd, and it's someone who's played an awful lot of games and scored a lot of goals, got a lot of assists this season, done really well in multiple positions, it just gives you another huge headache. And for me, the ideal situation for Liverpool here would be to maybe keep hold of Diaz for at least one more season. Just keep him on that. He's not getting paid mega money relative to what he could be earning, which is why there's a bit of kind of discord around his contract, and he would like a new one. But I don't think Liverpool need to give him that. I think they just need to kind of, if they can keep hold of him for another season, get one more year out of him, then maybe make the sale. I think that's an ideal position to be in. And I don't think Liverpool would be too concerned about doing that, about running him down to his final year, because I think they'll believe they'll be able to get money for him then, no problem. He'll still be wanted. But also it just gives them that little bit extra kind of continuity in the front line, doesn't it? If you have to bed in another striker next season, to have Diaz there to be able to play centre forward, left wing, can even play right wing as well. We know how much of a grafter he is, and he's done so well this season. So, I think Liverpool would see that as not a kind of a desperate situation where they have to have a resolution. I think they'll probably think they can just ride it for one more year. And for me, that would be the ideal route to go down.
Yeah, I mean, people forgetting he's got, I think, 17 goals and 8 assists as well. So a big contributor, probably the second biggest forward this season as well. So, yeah, it'll be interesting. There is just a million things to consider with the summer coming up.